Hello and welcome to Marketing Tip Tea Time at 2:22. I'm Aaron and we have...
Your co-host Josh, back at it again for another episode.
Back at it again, another Friday. Another week has gone by since the last time we shared this time with you. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about an extension of last week's episode, which is Google Ads. This time, we're going to be talking about the Google Display Network and Google Display Ads. Here, I've got some statistics to read off here.
Oh yeah, gotta be precise.
Yes. Okay. So Google Display Ads can reach 90% of the internet users worldwide. That is across over 2 million websites, news pages, blogs, apps, videos, and on Google sites like Gmail and YouTube. With so many channels and avenues to reach your target audience, there's no question that these can be very valuable for businesses. In this episode, we are going to talk about how Google Ads work and what kind of value they provide.
And they provide quite a lot of value, but first, the most important part of the segment,
But wait.
our tea today. So, today we are drinking brain tea. So,
It smells like brainy brains.
so basically what this is, it's basically a blend of 4 ingredients that help promote focus and memory along with an array of other benefits, which I'll touch on. But Aaron and I actually learned about this brain tea concept in a book we read called Limitless, and did a little bit of research.
Did you read the whole
Well,
thing?
you know, part of it. Part of it. But we learned about this and thought, oh, maybe that's worth a try. And we found brain tea, ordered it, and we've had a few cups, and we got to say, it works pretty well. It's got...
I really like it.
The main ingredients are Ginkgo biloba.
Ginkgo biloba.
Ginkgo biloba, nailed it. Tucola, lion's mane mushroom, and MCT coconut oil. So it helps with things like memory, mood, brain cell regeneration, reducing anxiety, increases brain energy, delays brain aging. So really good for your brain.
So I have a couple
Why
of
it's called brain
things.
tea.
Yeah, I have a couple things actually on that. I just dropped a link in our comments. You can order this. This tea actually is certified by Health Canada. So this is a Canadian company. Health Canada is the equivalent of the FDA in the United States. So they actually went through a year of testing, like medical testing on this tea to be able to make the medical claims that they have on the bag. So this is like legit. The FDA has also accepted this because they sometimes will accept other health organizations stuff. So yeah, they worked really hard to do this, and yeah, I just dropped a link. Like I said, you can go ahead and go to that link, and if you use, I believe it's if you use code ZOVA, Z-O-V-A, all capital, you are going to get yourself some percentages off.
10% off. So
All right.
check it out if you're interested. And it tastes pretty good too.
We do really
I'd
like
say.
this tea. Yes, Mom, you should try it. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Aaron's mom. So, Aaron, let's dive right into it. What are Google Display Ads? Like, what even are they, and how do they work?
They're just big pile of trash.
I mean,
Honestly.
yeah.
No. So
And that's it for our show.
Google Ads, display ads specifically, are image, video, GIF, HTML ads, so they could be animated, that show on essentially websites, blogs. YouTube is part of the display network. So they are what we will call graphical assets instead of just copy assets. So as opposed to Google search, where it's all just straight words, your Google Display Ads have a graphical part to them, which is some sort of animation, video, picture, something like that. And so they show all over the place. And really, with these types of ads, what's different as well about the objective of these ads is these ads really help to drive awareness and brand recall, brand lift, and they're more of a like awareness and consideration step in the funnel as opposed to a straight kind of consideration conversion step in the funnel like your search ads are. So these are really to jumpstart the top of your funnel to get people aware of what you're doing. And then they actually pair very well with search ads, which is why we recommend that people run both of them, because through the funnel somebody can find out about you through display ads and then convert through a search ad. So they're really solid as a pair. That's, I think, partially why Google has both of them very strong on their network. So that's what it is. If you're ever on a website and you see these ads kind of popping up, sometimes they're scrolling or at the bottom or at the top or on the side, those are most likely Google ads. Some of them are not, like pop-ups usually aren't Google ads, those are usually other ones. Google actually hates pop-up ads because they actually really F with the flow of somebody using a site. So if you ever go on to 9 News, by the way, if you've ever been on any of those news sites, and they you can't even read the damn article because it's just like popping up all over the place. Yeah, that's what Google doesn't like. So
yeah, not good for user experience.
But then also on YouTube. So if you are going through YouTube and there's those annoying videos that are interrupting your programming,
those are Google display.
Those are Google display ads. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, Google Display and Google Search work really well together for that top of funnel from display and bottom of funnel from search.
Oh yeah.
So what exactly can we target with these ads? Well,
yes, Josh. What exactly can you target?
Well, quite a bit. Certain websites that you want to gain awareness on. You can really target. Like you can target specific websites, specific YouTube channels, right? Like for Brain Tea, for example. A good example would be maybe they target a website that talks about lion's mane, because that's one of the main ingredients in brain tea. And the traffic on that website would be very relevant to, well, this would be a very relevant product to them because it contains that lion's mane component, and that's already what they're reading anyways. So you can really target super relevant traffic on that. There's plenty of ways to target too. Demographic targeting, like age, gender, parental status, device, right, computer or mobile. Plenty of ways to use that.
Geographically,
audience lists, like in-market audiences. We talked about that last week on Google Search. People that are classified by Google as in market to purchase something. Like if I were to look up on YouTube, best way to buy a used car, watched a few videos about that. Google could put me in the in-market audience of buying a used car. So that's basically what that is. You can use that to target. You can also implement retargeting ads. I'm sure we all have some experience with that. You go on a website to check out a product, and then you're just scrolling around later on Google, and look at that. Ads from their website are popping up on the side of the other website you're looking at. Yep, those are retargeting ads.
Yep. Exactly. So really, targeting, the sky's the limit with search and with display, and combined you can have a really solid strategy for reaching the people you need to be reaching, and in building a really strong funnel to drive conversions from the awareness stage.
They're really the yin and yang in Google Ads,
yin
right?
and yang, or the yang and yin.
I like yang and yin.
Yeah. And with every decision that a business makes, everybody's wondering, well, how much does this cost? Well, luckily, we've got our finance guy here to answer that exact question. Josh, how much do Google display ads cost? We went over the cost of Google search ads last time, but what do the display ads cost?
Right, so when you're looking at the price of display ads, you'll notice that the cost per click is typically much lower. Cost per impression with the ad typically much lower, right? A lot cheaper than Google search. But what you'll also notice is in Google display, you're going to see a lower click-through rate from impressions to clicks. The click-through rate's going to be lower.
Very low.
And also the conversion rate will also be lower.
A lot lower.
Because through search, there's a lot more intent. People are more ready to buy
Yep.
through display if they see an ad and check out your website. Oh, they might be considering it, but they don't have the same level of intent with Google search. But that's why it's great to have the pair, so that if you show that awareness, get them into the consideration phase, and then later on they might Google you, your ad can pop up, and then you can get a conversion off of that. So that's why they work so well together. But typically they're a lot cheaper. And
Yep.
something else to keep in mind is that it's not as simple as you on average show an ad to someone 1 or 2 times and then they'll visit your website.
It takes a while.
It takes a while. Like we found at least 7 times.
7 times.
Yeah, 7 to
That's
10.
about the average that somebody finally starts to have some ad recall lift.
Yeah, so it takes quite a bit of impressions. So
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Quick note, if you're watching at home and you're wondering, what the heck are they talking about? How can I get involved with Google Ads? I should be using them. You can comment right where you're at right now on Facebook, and we will see your comments and try and answer any questions that you have related to Google Display Ads or Google Search Ads, or really ads in general for that matter. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop those questions in the comments, and we will attempt to answer those questions.
in that we will.
And that we will.
Drop them down below.
All right, so how do we know if these ads are going to work, right?
How do you know?
So here's the thing about digital ads in general. We get a lot of clients who come to us and they say, hey, send me what the ad looks like. It's not that simple. If you create ads, display ads, or even search ads, there are over 40,000 variations of that ad that can be shown to a person. So I can't necessarily take a screenshot and show you exactly what the ad's going to look like. The ad's going to change depending on the site that it's on, depending on the size, if it's an animation, if it is what kind of text overlays you have on the ad. All of those types of things change, and what's even better is you can put in what's called, what we call it across all platforms is called dynamic creative. That's actually mostly what Facebook calls it, is what's called dynamic creative, in which you put in multiple variations of a single place, so like multiple variations of the headline, multiple variations of the description, multiple variations of an image. And then the AI on the back end of the platform will pick and choose which ones will work best for the specific person that it is delivering that ad to, which makes your ad perform a lot better, but also makes it impossible for us to show you exactly what the ad looks like. Most people, when they're looking at creative stuff, they judge the work based off of what the creative looks like. And the difficult part with ads is that's not possible with digital ads.
I mean, we couldn't download 40,000 variations, right?
That would be pretty crazy. So how do you know what they're doing? Through conversion tracking, just like with the Google search ads.
Exactly.
Conversion tracking is how we can track the actions that a person who has clicked on your ad takes on your website over a certain period of time. We default to 30 days. So that if they've clicked on an ad, it will actually track them for about 30 days if they're on your website.
It's also known as an attribution window.
Attribution window. And so we are then tracking those results directly from the Google ads. We can track anything that you want that is what we would call a goal or an objective. So if you have lead form fills, sales obviously are the easiest to do financial calculations on, newsletter signups, all sorts of different things. Really any action that somebody can take on your website, we can set up through Google conversion tracking. And so, as we talked about previously, Google search, Google ads, they kind of go together. So the beauty of it is Google Ads and Google Search are run through the same exact ad manager, and thus your conversion tracking code that you put on your website is the same for both search and display. You don't have to reinstall it or install it twice. So once you've set up your Google campaigns and your Google account and you get your conversion tracking set up, it will work for both of these, so you don't have to go back and try and do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, when they're working in conjunction with each other, Google does recommend actually that you use the AI attribution models for figuring out which clicks are the most important. Because if you think about this, if it takes 7 times for somebody to see your ad before they even click on it, and then they go through this really long, complex customer journey before they take a solid action on your website, you're going to want to know which ads did what at what point in that journey. So what we like to do is we set up the AI, or the machine learning attribution model, which shows us not only the path that somebody's taken, but the percent, it's in a percent of how important each ad was as a touch in the entire process to getting a conversion of some sort. So it could say this ad we estimate was 5% responsible for that, and this ad was 10, and this ad was 20. There are a couple of different attribution models you can use, such as time weighted, in which the closer you get to the action, it's just kind of like a function of getting to that time. But then also there's like machine learning, there's linear, there's last touch, which a lot of people use for search ads, or last click, also known as last click. So those are some of the things that we can do to really know exactly what your ads are doing. And if you want to generate awareness, which a lot of people do with their display ads, then we track what's called impressions and ad recall lift. Right? And so ad recall lift is another machine learning algorithm that tells you essentially what it estimates the recall of your brand is with a specific person. So it could say, oh, they saw this ad and their recall is 20%, which means they're more likely to remember you 20% more than they were before they saw the ad. So those are the types of things you want to be tracking when you are doing the Google Display Network. And the thing is that impressions are very, very, very cheap. In fact, they're so cheap that we measure them, and it's called CPM. And you might think, oh, that's cost per million impressions, but it's actually cost per 1,000 impressions.
Yeah, also known as cost per mile, correct?
Yes, yep.
The official name for it. Yeah.
So it's cost per 1,000 impressions is actually the metric, the finance metric that you'd use to see that, because they are so cheap, sometimes less than a cent. So, you know, there's not even really a way to say, oh, each impression is this if it's like so tiny. So, you know, those are some of the things, but it does depend on what your targeting is for how expensive those are. So Josh, what is the most expensive YouTube channel or topic to...
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah,
that's super important to keep in mind, because really for each ad placement on a website or on a YouTube video, it's basically its own ad economy, right? Because there's supply and demand for that position, and there's bidding going on that Google's AI is deciding, okay, which ad fits here, what's their bid, what's their quality, and then they select, and it happens in an instant. But I know on YouTube, some of the most expensive placements on YouTube are financial videos. Those have the highest CPM and CPC. Yep. And the reason why is because on those finance videos, the audience watching is highly engaged with those videos and tend to watch the entire length and engage in the comment section and like the video. So that's some of the most highly engaged content on YouTube. And because that traffic is so engaged, that makes them super valuable to target, because they're more likely to take an action like clicking on your ad or paying attention to the ad that runs, because they're already locked in for the video.
Exactly. So it does depend on what exactly your targeting parameters are. It could be more expensive, substantially more expensive, if you are trying to advertise on a channel or a video or a website that has a very, very, very high competition for people bidding on that site or that topic or that video. So keep that in mind. These are just, this is just a little dabble, a little taste. We gave you, you know, the amuse-bouche of the Google display world, and I mean, we could dive into this forever.
Yeah, we could go on for a
quick little shout out. We actually work a lot. Daniel put in the comments, we work with Daniel James Media on a lot of the display ads that are run with the creative in that. He's pretty good at getting that creative, exactly what you want, and a lot of variations. Daniel's good at cranking out the variations, which is super impressive. Like a lot of variations. I think one time he showed me he had like 75 variations for a single ad going. It was pretty intense. But we could dive into this forever. But that's all the time we have for today. I will let you know though, we will talk about this in the future, and maybe even we're starting up our classes in our consulting plans on Zova, so those are live right now. If you're looking for a little bit of marketing consulting on anything like what we're talking about or anything to do with digital ads, you can actually go and become a member of our website, become part of our Zova family, and once a month we will be doing an educational video in which we'll dive even deeper than we are now, and it's actually going to be more of a classroom setup, so we'll all be talking together. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You all should sign up for that so that you could see what's going on.
It'll be a good time, yeah. Great content coming on the website. Yep. Well, Aaron, I think that's all the time we have. So, to our audience watching, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for dropping comments, interacting, engaging with the video, leaving likes. Really appreciate it. Helps out a ton. Shout out to Bike Shop Agency for putting this all together.
Bike Shop. All right.
So until next time.
Na zdraví.
Cheers.